This presentation is known as the Founder Acharaya series, which is a series of 10 lessons on Guru and Prabhupada. So it's a combination of the knowledge of Guru, the principle that makes up Guru Tattva, along with the life of Srila Prabhupada. So this seminar is totally interactive. Get ready. No sitting back. So I'm going to be presenting the slides, and I'm going to ask devotees to read. You read, and you'll just have to follow what is on the screen. And this first session is called, What is Guru? So this is a general session teaching the principles of Guru Tattva, or the spiritual master, and the role the spiritual master plays both in his position and in the life of the disciples. And at the end there are 6 questions. So I'm going to ask you those questions also. So the answers are already being presented in the form of these slides. So as we go through it, you'll understanding everything as it's being explained. So this first session is what is Guru, and there's my little jobby there. Okay. Let's see, where's the red light? One of these is the light. Oops. Yes. Okay, and put it back on again. Yes. Okay, and the red light is that one? Yeah. Okay. So, I know Sri Devi knows everything, so please don't dominate the whole program, but you can participate. Not that you can't, but give everyone a chance. So this is called the Founder Acharya, as it says here. Oops. Celebrating Srila Prabhupada's unique, note that word, transcendental position in ISKCON, as well as every follower's foundational relationship with him. So that's the sum total of the topic that's going to be presented. Prabhupada's unique position, and there's no one else that has that position, as well as his relationship and our relationship with Srila Prabhupada. Okay? So, who knows where this is? Which place? It's in America.
Los Angeles?
No. New Vrindavan, yes, New Vrindavan. That's 1972. Srila Prabhupada came for the Janmashtami celebration, and we had put him up on a hill and set up a whole series of talks Prabhupada gave, and it was called Bhagavad Dharma Discussions. And there's a book that was printed based on these lectures that Prabhupada gave in 1972, around the Janmashtami time. Okay. Okay, so we need a reader. Ladies and gentlemen, who's going to read?
I'll read.
Nice and loud.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, those who are my students, they know what is this ceremony. Those who are visitors, for their information, I may inform you something about this ceremony.
Continue.
Otherwise, it may be understood, an outsider may see it that, why a person is being worshipped like God, there may be some doubt.
So, the spiritual master has a unique position, and he's surrounded by loving and disciples and others who are offering him various types of accolades and glorifications. So one from the outside might start thinking, well, what is this? This is man worship. Okay? Just to clear. Okay? So here we have Krishna and the disciplic succession coming down from Krishna. You have Lord Chaitanya here. Oops. Okay, this I'm not familiar with this one here. Okay, you have Krishna, and then you have, what is that, Brahma? Lord Chaitanya. Who's that? Bhakti Vinod. Who's that? That's you. Okay. Read, someone.
On the top of the mango tree, there's take the mic. On the top of the mango tree, there is a very ripened fruit, and that fruit has to be tasted. So, if I drop the fruit from up, it will be lost. Therefore, it is handed over, after one, after one, after. Then it comes down. So, all Vedic process of knowledge is taken from the authority, and it comes down through disciplic succession.
So the knowledge that is being given is not new. It is coming from Krishna. Krishna is called Adi Guru. He is the original teacher of transcendental knowledge, but he imparts that knowledge into the heart of Brahma, Teni Brahma Ida Harika Bhayai. And then Brahma gives it to Narada, and then down through the disciplic succession. And when it comes to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he presents it through the six Goswamis, and then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and how here we have it. So that knowledge is being handed from guru to guru, guru to disciple, then guru to guru, like that. So this indicates that this knowledge is not created. It is ultimately called aropanta. There is avaropanta and aropanta. This is avaropanta. Panta means path or pathway. So the knowledge is coming from Krishna through the different qualified spiritual teachers, and then it's being presented to us as it is. Of course, the consideration is to make it relevant to the audience that the person is speaking to. So in the historical evolution, there is also presentations according to time, place, and circumstance. But the essence is never lost or changed. So that same knowledge comes through, but at the same time it is adopted according to time, place, and circumstance. And that's the feature, or that's the wisdom of the spiritual teachers. They can understand the audience and present the knowledge accordingly without changing the essence. Now so here it says handed down one after another, using the example of handing down a fruit from one branch to another. Okay? Okay, someone like to read this one here?
Just like a post peon comes and delivers you, says $100, so he is not delivering that $100. Your friend has sent you $100, and his business is to hand over that $100 as it is, without any change, without taking $1 from it. No, or adding. No addition, no subtraction, his honesty. His perfection is that he delivers you that $100 which is sent by your friend. He may be imperfect in so many other ways, but when he does his business perfectly, he is perfect. Similarly, we receive perfect knowledge from Krishna through the agency of spiritual master.
So the example is given, post peon. So a postal peon is a person who simply takes the letter and delivers it from the post office to the person who is meant to get it. He doesn't change it, he doesn't add it, he doesn't put anything into it, he gives it as the way it is. So here, this is an interesting principle, that even though he may not be perfect, but the business is perfect. He's following the protocol of giving it the way it has been given to him. So in the spiritual master also, there are spiritual masters who are on different levels of spiritual attainment, and therefore there are some that are perfect and some that are aspiring for perfection but have reached a level of perfection where they can qualify themselves to give perfect knowledge because they have understood that knowledge from their spiritual teacher without change. Now, this is a nice example. Prabhupada would use this example. This is Srila Prabhupada's. Mostly, all of these quotes are coming from Srila Prabhupada. Okay? Any questions? Yes?
I just wanted to ask you around different types of spiritual masters, and you said some may not have attained spiritual perfection, but because they've understood the perfectly,
Yeah.
that qualifies them to be a spiritual teacher.
Yeah, you'll get that into the next. There are what they call Shiksha Gurus and Diksha Gurus. The Shiksha Gurus are also Guru, and they're equal to the Diksha Guru, who is the initiating Guru. But at the same time, they may not be perfect, but they are giving the knowledge in a perfect way. But they're playing the role of Guru. And you'll see, and as we come to the succeeding slides here, that it is the process is to give the knowledge as it is. So those that may not be perfect, but they're presenting it perfectly. So sometimes they are known as Shiksha Gurus. Usually for a Diksha Guru it's a little different, but for Shiksha Gurus there. And we'll come to one verse which shows the quality of both Diksha and Shiksha. They're both aspects of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's mercy equally, although they have different roles. Does that help? Yes?
Very much. You mentioned two examples in the quotes from Srila Prabhupada, two examples.
Take the
One where the Acharya adapts according to time. One where the one. Hare Krishna. Krishna. Sorry, but there were two examples. One where the Acharya adapts the message according to time, place, and circumstance, and the other, the post beyond, it comes and delivers exactly word for word what it is. And I was thinking about like ourselves, some of ourselves in the circumstance where we have so many imperfections. Our memories are, well, like my memory is terrible. I won't remember word for word. But if I was on the street, for example, I might be trying to explain as I have understood it to the best of my knowledge, but it won't be word for word, and it won't be I won't be adapting it the way that the Acharya would. So how does that fit in? Is it still acceptable?
Yes, if you give it as it is, without changing it. You may explain it in your own words, but still, the essence of the message should be the same as the way the message came. It shouldn't be adapted to add something to it which would change the meaning, or to subtract something to it to make it a little bit more succinct. In other words, just give it as it is. Srila Prabhupada would use the example of Malati's little daughter, Saraswati. She was 5 years old. And she was very, what we say, enthusiastic, to use a word. So during the Sunday feast lecture, when guests would come, she would run up to a guest and say, "Do you know Krishna?" And they would say, "No." And she would say, "He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead," and then she would run. Prabhupada said, she's preaching. She's giving the knowledge as it is. She knows Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, in one sense, she's acting like a guru. So that'll come up, and you'll see how it fits into a general rule in this discussion. Okay, so next slide. Prabhupada. Who knows where that is? Bhaktivedanta Manor. Good. I was afraid you guys were going to have to go back home and check it out. Okay. Bhaktivedanta Manor, yes, Prabhupada. In a very contemplative mood. Okay. So this is Krishnadas Kaviraj writing Chaitanya Charitamrita. He's the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And, okay, someone like to read?
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord's incarnations, his plenary portions, his energies, and the primeval Lord himself, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. CCLD 1.1. He Krishna Goswami, so he Kaviraj Goswami uses a plural here to indicate the disciplic succession. He offers obeisances not to his spiritual master alone, but to the whole parampara, the chain of disciplic succession, beginning with Lord Krishna himself. CC introduction.
So gurun, the word gurun means many gurus. That'll come up. But here, and this is the opening, this is the first verse, actually it's the introduction and the first verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. You wanted to say something?
Should we shift this so that it becomes comfortable? Should we shift the sofa a little?
You can change the chair's position.
Yeah.
I like to stand, but they told me I can't. So. It's easier if I stand. Okay. I can put that here. No, I'm not going to sit. I'll stand. Yeah. Okay, so next slide. Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay.
A devotee must have only one initiating spiritual master, because in the scripture acceptance of more than one is always forbidden. There is no limit, however, to the number of instructing spiritual masters one may accept. Generally, spiritual master who constantly instructs a disciple in spiritual science becomes his initiating spiritual master later on. CCRB 1.3.
Yeah. So it says there's no limit to number of instructing spiritual masters. But ultimately, they all must be in line with the teachings of the initial spiritual master, which is the initiating spiritual master. They cannot present anything different or contrary. But therefore, having one is the standard, or is the allowable number for one to get initiated. You can't have more than one initiating spiritual master. But we can have many spiritual masters who act as support to the main spiritual master, and they are called instructing spiritual masters. Okay? Any comments on that? Questions? Yes?
Sometimes we see that when a devotee is initiating spiritual master, they've left their gross body and they take second initiation from another spiritual master. How does that, is that still acceptable, and that still counts as one initiating spiritual master?
Yeah, that's considered one. Because obviously the process of initiation has been divided into two. That is called Harinam initiation and Brahminical initiation. Brahminical initiation, as the Shastras explain, is considered to be the complete initiation. It's called Upanaya Samskars, one of the 16 Sanskars. And therefore, that's a must. And that's a whole discussion wherein initiation was only one, Brahminical, but people were misusing that and pretentiously or surreptitiously adopting Brahminical standard, although but not being qualified. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, in order to prevent this pretense, he divided the initiation process into two. Harinam initiation, where the spiritual master accepts the disciple, guides him, and takes most of the karma. And then the second initiation, the remaining karma is taken, and then that's called complete initiation, or Brahminical initiation. Like that. So that person is simply continuing what the initiating spiritual master did. So it's not really two. It's because it's one process. Although two people are performing that one process, they're not opposite each other. One's simply following in order to give the disciple the complete process. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, Sri Devi.
Guru Maharaj, when you say that Bhakti Siddhanta, the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj divided the process into two. It is because the process was not being followed properly, or
people were adopting this Brahminical standard, although they weren't qualified. Yeah.
So by dividing it into two, one makes sure that the disciple is actually qualified.
Coming up to the standard of developing Brahminical qualities, Brahminical initiation means the devotee has to be exhibiting those qualities of a Brahmin. It's not simply a type of service that one performs. That's secondary. It is the qualities of a Brahmin that one has to exhibit in order to become qualified to accept that second initiation. And that is called Upanaya Samskar. Yes, Ekta?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Can you take those books out of that?
Yeah.
I hear from devotees that there seems to be a mixed kind of view about second initiation and the necessity of taking it. I know in your classes you often say, second initiation is complete and it's, necessary, but there seems to be different views from devotees in ISKCON about it.
Prabhupada said different things, but he did say initially, back in 1968, that he made the analogy It's like when you go to school and then there's the lower grade and then there's the higher grades. To complete the education, one has to go through all the grades. So he made that analogy to show that in second initiation, eventually is the complete process of initiation. But then he said, in one time, that he also said that if one is initiated, he didn't, I'm not sure of his exact statement, but there is indications that it did indicate first initiation is initiation also. So, but when you speak of Upanaya Samskara, you talk about Brahminical initiation. But the question comes, can one go back home, back to Godhead, simply with first initiation? That's the question. Well, it's not so much that, it's the qualifications of the disciple. If they're exhibiting pure devotional service, although they're only first initiation, then they qualify to attain the spiritual realm. Although they may not have the second initiation.
So could it be said that it's supportive of a devotee's progress to perfection, but a devotee can still progress without second initiation and
But
become pure devotee?
It's recommended that one follow the process and ultimately adopt both initiations. Because that's the complete, as it's explained and given and followed by our society, and first and second initiation. But you'll find there is some discussion around this, and I don't think I should go into all of it today because then we might be here all day just discussing that. But anyway, we can re-enter that. Okay, so did we read this one? Yeah. Okay. How would you describe Prabhupada's mood there?
Questioning or inquiring.
He's in a mood of inquiring, maybe. Okay, let's see. What else? What other mood would you apply to that? What's wrong with you? Can't you understand? That's another mood. Or he's explaining, because you can see there's a microphone. So Prabhupada is in his mood of explaining something very important based on a question that he received. Any other observations?
Like impressed, like wow.
What's what?
Impressed.
Huh?
He's impressed.
He's impressed?
Like, wow.
Okay. Every answer is right.
Oh, it's the same, I'm telling you.
Yeah, can't you get it?
Yeah.
That's, yeah, I mean, I'm explaining it. Here it is.
It could also be, just see what's happening in the world, just explain how things are, in this world.
Yeah. Or in ISKCON. I think he's in the world. Thank you. Okay, here we go.
The initiating and instructing spiritual master are equal and identical manifestations of Krishna, although they have different dealings.
Yeah, we talked about that. So this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the first chapter of Ali Leela, verse 34. Yeah, so initiating and instructing spiritual masters, and then we'll go on to the second part of this statement.
There is no difference between the shelter giving Supreme Lord and the initiating and instructing spiritual masters. If one foolishly discriminates between them, he commits an offence in the discharge of devotional service.
Well, there's a complete understanding. There's no difference between the shelter-giving Supreme Lord, who manifests himself in the form of these two aspects of Guru, both instructing and initiating. So it's recommended within our society and in general to also have someone who is somewhat on the same level as your spiritual master, at least who can also guide you when the spiritual master is not there. In other words, an instructing spiritual master who may also support this, your progress in devotional service. But what is the difference? It's mentioned here. Where is the difference?
There is no difference.
No difference, but there is. There's difference, but no difference. Where is it?
Master gives initiation and new name.
Different dealings.
Yeah.
That's
Different dealings.
Although they have different dealings. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Check this part here. Check here also. Okay, so their dealings are different. One is connecting one to the disciplic succession through the process of diksha, instructing spiritual master, the initiating spiritual master. But the initiating spiritual master also becomes the instructor also. So both are instructors, but one is only, as we mentioned, or was there in the previous slides, only one initiating spiritual master, many instructing spiritual masters. You can have one, you can have many, and some people don't even have none. They get everything from their initiating spiritual master. That is also considered to be acceptable. The idea is to make progress. So if you can get help from others who are also in the role of giving help, then why not? They're supportive and they're also considered to be spiritual masters. Okay? Okay, here we are. Back to what that place is? New Vrindavan. Now Prabhupada's talking. Okay. Who wants to read?
Guru is plural in number because anyone who gives spiritual instructions based on the revealed scriptures is accepted as spiritual master. Although others give help in showing the way to beginners, the Guru who first initiates one with the Mahamantra is to be known as the initiator, and the saints who give instructions for progressive advancement in Krishna consciousness are called instructing spiritual masters.
So this is what we've been talking about, so it's clear now. Any questions on this?
Is it necessary to be only like Prabhuji? Like many times it happens like the instructing spiritual, the instructing master might not be like Prabhuji. It might be Mataji also. So is it?
There's no. Whoever is qualified can do it. It's not a matter of gender, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Guru Maharaj, sometimes I've heard two different explanations of the instructing spiritual master. One being anyone that speaks the message of Krishna to us, whether it's in a lecture, whether it's just one-to-one, whether it's part of a group, anywhere, anytime, any place. And the other where the instructing spiritual master is authorized by the initiating spiritual master, in which case there would only be one of them.
Yeah, that's the actual understanding. In other words, before you adopt an instructing spiritual master, you should get permission from your initiating spiritual master first to accept that person or not, because they may have different moods. Like in my own experience, people come to me with that concern, and I ask them who, and in some cases I'll say, well, I don't think that's a good choice, find someone else, because our moods are different. So it is, Shivaram Maharaj wrote a book called, what did he call it? I don't know if he's... Shiksha Diksha, no, Shiksha Guru, that was the... And he wanted to formalize Shiksha. As we formalize Diksha, he wanted to formalize Diksha. So people would have, this is my Shiksha Guru also, and get, instead of just going everywhere, instead of pulling things. And that can be a little bit of a cheating process, where you accept and not accept based on what you like or not. So, but I never got approved within the society to have an... So one should have, I would say, one very formidable instructing spiritual master who can assist in the process of Krishna consciousness, rather than have many. But that's a loose definition of instructing spiritual. It's very loose. But you'll see, Guru Tattva is very difficult to understand. In fact, our society is still discussing it. They can't come to conclusions because it's so dynamic and complex. What is a guru? Who is a guru? What is the qualifications in terms of what is the roles they play? So, and this will come up in some of the succeeding slides here. Okay. Okay, who knows that picture there? Let's see.
Vasudeva Datta? No.
Close. Okay, who's that? Huh? Yeah, that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And who's this? Same person, right? This is before and this is after.
Does he have leprosy?
Huh?
Did the other
Yeah.
devotee have leprosy?
Yeah, that's Vasudeva. Vasudeva the leopard. When Lord Chaitanya was traveling through Kurmakshetra, you should know that, he met this one leopard who he purified simply by his touch, and he became whole. Okay, so. See, Devi, read that.
Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna. Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh. Amar agnya guru haya tara e desh. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Shri Krishna as they are given in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land.
There you go.
CC Madhya Leela 7128.
Guru. But nothing in the formalized sense. Simply by giving the knowledge that is given by Krishna and your Guru you can also play the role of guiding and bringing others to Krishna consciousness. So that's in Madhya Lila, and that's also in relationship to this pastime. That's what Lord Chaitanya told Vasudeva. No, I'm sorry, he told that to the Kurma Brahman. He told that to the Kurma Brahman. So here's a more liberal or more expansive definition of guru. But does it apply? It does, yeah. And you'll get to the essence coming up. Okay. Srila Prabhupada is writing letters. He wrote a lot of letters, not just simply, dictated and others wrote, but he also wrote letters. Okay, here we go. This is where we get into it now. Rasa Vilasini, go ahead and read. Please. Nice and loud.
I want that all of my spiritual sons and daughters will inherit this title of Bhakti Vedanta, so that the family transcendental diploma will continue through the generation. Those possessing the title of Bhakti Vedanta will be allowed to initiate disciples. Maybe by 1975, all of my disciples will be allowed to initiate and increase the number of the generation. That is my program. Letter to Hastota, 3 Jan 1969.
Here's the command. Okay, get ready. Okay, here we go.
So every one of you can become a guru. You may say that I am not interested to become a guru, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that if you are not interested, that is not very good. You should be interested. You must be guru. That is success of your life. Room Conversation, 13 March 1970.
Yeah, so Prabhupada is saying, everyone, take up the mantle and give relevant instructions to others as you have understood it from your spiritual master and from Krishna. And he says that is the success of your life. In other words, there's two types of devotees. There's devotees who are only interested in their own spiritual advancement, and there's those who are interested in giving knowledge and assistance to others. So our movement is a preaching movement. It's not a chapati flipping movement or sitting down and talking about what's going on in ISKCON. ISKCON, what do they call that? Gramya Katha. It's about becoming qualified in your own practice of spiritual knowledge and making your efforts to reach others. This is our movement. If everyone does that, Krishna consciousness will expand around the world so fast. So this is the legacy that we've been given. It's not just for a certain class of people or certain ones who have positions. It's for everyone. You may say, how can I become guru? Prabhupada said, you should be interested. Okay, so it's not hard to just learn to repeat what you hear. And as you practice that, you become adept at that, and then you can start to understand how to deliver the message according to time, place, and candidate. Okay, so where are we here? What is Prabhupada doing? He's writing again. He used a dictaphone to record all of his bhakti vedanta purports. But when he first started, it was by hand. He started by hand, then he got a typewriter, and then he was using a typewriter. So Prabhupada was very, determined to get his message out. And he would do anything what was required to get that message out somehow. He took on so much austerity to do that. Okay.
A person who is liberated, Acharya and Guru, cannot commit any mistake, but there are persons who are less qualified, are not liberated, but still can act as Guru and Acharya by strictly following the disciplic succession.
Yeah, so here we go back to that same point again. There are those who are not liberated, and Guru cannot commit it, but there are persons who are less qualified and not liberated, but still can act as Guru and Acharya by following. This is the word here. Oops, let me go back. This is the word. Following strictly the disciplic succession. And there's the qualifications. Okay? And that's a letter to one of the leading disciples at that time, Janardana. He was preaching. Okay, any questions about that? Yes.
Very much. There seem to be two standards there in that Srila Prabhupada was saying he wanted everyone to have the title Bhaktivedanta, which seems a very high standard. Is it even possible? And then the other standard of where anyone and everyone can explain as they have understood and teach, preach as they have understood. So can you comment on those two, please?
So what is the definition of Guru? If you have to give a one-line or two-line explanation, how would you define Guru?
Someone who's heavy.
Yes, continue. Heavy with?
Heavy with instruction for your benefit, but with a lot of love as well.
The word Guru means someone who is heavy with knowledge. Yeah. Or instructions, guidance, yeah. So that's the actual understanding of Guru. Not like someone who plays basketball and he's the best, he's the guru of the basketball team. And the word has been bandied around, and there's a popular guru, there's a sports guru, Hollywood guru. But the word has been somehow or other redefined. Guru simply means weighty, the word weighty, heavy with knowledge. So yes, Prabhupada wanted that, and he wanted to authorize that in a form of certificates, Bhaktivedanta. But then again, the principle of Guru is the one who guides others or gives relevant instructions to others. So both terms apply. There's those who will formally take the position of Guru and accept disciples, and there are those who will just preach. They're also Guru. So, the point is knowledge. Yes, Arti?
Guru Maharaj, I have a silly question. What does Bhaktivedanta actually mean?
Bhakti, Vedanta, means Vedanta means culmination or end. So, complete. So, complete, Vedanta refers to that knowledge which is complete. And Bhakti refers to devotion. So one who is complete in devotion and transcendental knowledge, Bhakti Vedanta.
And it's not like because Prabhupada was basic Bhaktivedanta, so then, but that slide before says everyone should be Bhaktivedanta. Everyone should aim to be Bhaktivedanta. But then no one else has the title Bhaktivedanta.
No, the degree, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Bhaktivedanta, Bhakti Sarvabhauma.
Those possessing the title of Bhaktivedanta will be allowed to initiate. So yeah, there is four 4 stages. Bhakti Shastra. You are well versed in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Upanishads, Nectar Devotion, and Srimad, Nectar Instruction. And then you have Bhakti Vaidabhava, who knows that plus the first 6 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then you have Bhakti Vedanta, who knows all of that plus the complete Srimad Bhagavatam. And then you have Bhakti Sarvabhauma, which is the highest. That includes Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is an educational system established by Srila Prabhupada in 1974. But we didn't adopt the actual systematic educational program until the 1990s, I think. It didn't happen, although Prabhupada wanted it back when he was there. So a lot of the things that Prabhupada wanted, we're still not doing. And that'll come up in this whole presentation. So, yeah. So, okay. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki. So, what is Prabhupada doing there?
Receiving Guru Puja.
Lecture.
He's accepting Guru Puja. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. One reader.
So this is the position of the spiritual master. Don't misunderstand that. This person is sitting very comfortably and taking all honors and contributions. It is needed just to teach them how to respect the representative of God. This is the sum and substance of Vyasa Puja. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So he wants to make clear that this is what it means to worship the spiritual master. Don't misunderstand. He's being respected. How?
As a representative of God.
As a representative of God, which means, in essence,
It's the mercy manifestation of God Himself.
and in terms of worship,
As good as God.
as good as God. Spiritual master should be treated as if he were God himself, but he never thinks he's God. If he is, he probably said he's dog. But the disciples should see him that way. That way they can understand the relationship with Krishna by worshiping his representative, who has manifested himself as Krishna in the mood of serving Krishna. So there's Guru who serves and Guru who is being served. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. There's God who serves and there's God who's being served. So Guru is God who is serving, although he's not God, but he's in the position to be accepted in that way. You follow? When Prabhupada was in New York, when he first gave the first initiations, after he completed it, he gave a little lecture, and the last thing he said, and the spiritual master should be worshipped just as God, and then he walked off and left everybody, and everybody fell out of their chair. Before he was saying, oh, anyone who says he's God, he's dog. Now he's saying he's God. And then everybody was confused. These are the new devotees back in the early days. Well, one person who was very sharp, he said, no, he's not saying he's God. He's saying we should see him that way for the sake of worship. And that became clear like that. So that's how Otherwise, if we see him as ordinary, then we may choose not choose to accept the instructions. Any further discussion, Ras?
Maharaj, I heard in one of the Prabhupada lectures.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Maharaj, I heard in one of the Prabhupada lecture, Prabhupada said that Vyasa Puja means a guru, he is representative of Vyasa Deva.
Yeah. So Rasadeva is the original guru in the disciplic succession, in our disciplic succession. That's why the seat that the spiritual master sits on is called Vyasa-san, the seat of Vyasa. So when he sits on that seat, he is actually representing the whole disciplic succession, going back to Vyasadeva. Okay, so I think that's the last slide. Okay, lesson 1. Okay, you ready for the questions? Okay, don't worry. If you don't get it right, you can still come to the class. Okay. Too many things here. Okay. Question number 1. Okay. Now we should be able to, first question. Read the question, someone.
Explain how. Hello? Hare Krishna. Explain how Sri Prabhupada demystified the Guru by connecting him to other Gurus in Parampara.
First question, who wants to tackle that one? Okay.
By transmitting the knowledge exactly as it is.
Right. By connecting to this other gurus of the Sampradaya, he didn't give that this guru, no, he's simply presenting the knowledge as he's receiving it from others who are in the same position for the parampara. Very good, thank you.
Example of mango.
Good.
Hanging down the mango.
Yeah, the hanging down the mango was the example. Okay, second question.
Explain how gurus are one and different from each other.
Who wants that one?
Each guru performs his business perfectly, even though they something differently.
How are they one, and then how are they different?
They won because they're following the same revealed scriptures perfectly. They're doing their business perfectly.
They're doing the business of teaching, giving knowledge, and so how they're different now?
Their method. I forgot what it said.
What does Prabhupada use that word? They have different what?
Dealings.
Dealings.
Yes.
Yeah. One is initiating, others are instructing. Yeah. Of course, the initiating guru is also instructing, but generally they have different dealings, and that's the difference. But guru is one. There can only be one guru. There's no such thing as two gurus. Guru means that who represents the Supreme Lord. Okay, good.
Explain why you may misunderstand an initiating spiritual master to be superior to an instructing spiritual master.
Who wants that one? Dheeraj, you want that one?
Because initiating spiritual master gives name and instruction also, and an instructing spiritual master gives instruction.
Because they have different dealings, one will be seen as superior because he's giving initiation.
Yeah.
But what is that verse that came at the very beginning that explained the answer? There was a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. What was that? Before that, there was a verse, it's 147 from Chaitanya Charitamrita in the purport, and it was mentioned that the instructing spiritual master and the initiating spiritual master are two principles of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, two equal principles. Although they have different dealings, still both are playing the role of the spiritual master, and both are needed. Yeah. So someone will think, well, instructing spiritual master is more important because, initiating spiritual master is more important because he's initiating. That is a role that is exclusive. As is mentioned, you can only have one initiating spiritual master. But you can have many instructing spiritual masters. And therefore, for the disciple, wherever they can get, just like, for instance, our disciplic succession. Take a look at our disciplic succession. We have, so who is Prabhupada's spiritual master? Okay. So who is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's spiritual master? Okay. Now, okay, and who is Gaurkishore Das Babaji's spiritual master? Yeah. So in the case of Gaurkishore Das Babaji, his initiating spiritual master was not Bhaktivinoda Thakur, although Bhaktivinoda Thakur precedes him in the disciplic succession. So our line, and you'll go through, if you go through the line all the way back to Krishna, is a Shiksha line, where the prominent guru is not necessarily the person who gave the initiation to the following spiritual master. So one who is prominent in giving those instructions also becomes the outstanding person within the life of the disciple. So, for instance, even better example is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Who was his spiritual master? It wasn't Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who was his preceding one. It was, who was it, Hari Bilal? What was his name?
Vipin Bihari.
Vipin Bihari. Vipin Bihari was, we don't hear about Vipin Bihari, but that was the spiritual master of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But you look at the disciplic succession, you see Jagannath Das Babaji preceding Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So that shows that the line is not necessarily a Diksha line. There is Diksha, but also Shiksha within the line, like that. That's why to think that the initiating spiritual master is superior is a misunderstanding. Both play important roles in the life of the disciple, yes.
Hello. My understanding is, for me, you are the initiating spiritual master. For instructions, yes, I can say in your absence, if I meet somebody.
If you want to go to one person to get all the instructions who is available and is qualified, such as your initiating spiritual master, that is fine. But that's not always the case.
But as a Siksha Guru, can he be an instructing spiritual master?
Shiksha Guru? Yeah, Shiksha Guru is also a guru, and he is called the instructing spiritual man. But we should not misunderstand that the initiating spiritual master is not instructing. He is instructing in spiritual man. It says that those who receive instructions from a particular guru will eventually take initiation from that guru. That's how it normally follows. But in certain cases, either by proximity of geography or when the spiritual master disappears, if one adopts a person who is qualified, who is in line with the teachings of his spiritual master, then that is the Shiksha Guru, and that could be the prominent guru in the life of the devotee. Yeah. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. Here you go, the favorite one. There's in Prabhupada's statement, he gives a reason why he wants everyone to become guru.
To propagate the movement.
Hmm?
To propagate the movement.
Which let's see, which slide was that? Let's go back. Yeah. Okay. Here. Increase the numbers of the generations.
That's my goal.
That's the reason why. To initiate and increase the number of the generations. Just like, for instance, in our society, the dynamics are, the spiritual masters that are here now are overloaded. They have too many disciples, many of them. I mean, just for example, Jayapataka Maharaj has 70,000 disciples. 70,000. And I can name a few others who have 40 and close to 50,000. But the scriptures say a guru should not accept too many disciples. But there's such a demand for gurus, and at the same time a shortage, that therefore the encouragement is everyone should try to come up to the standard what will relieve the burden of those who are accepting disciples, and at the same time make available more and more persons who can guide people in spiritual life. There's a shortage, even in our society today, a big shortage. Because people are coming. But it puts a lot of weight on one particular spiritual master, because he has to bear the burden of not only guiding and instructing them, but also accepting the karma. So. And there's also gurus in our movement who have 4, 5, 10 disciples. There's some who are qualified to have disciples who are not taking disciples. But that's their personal choice, because they rather just focus on preaching rather than and writing books. Most of them are not just taking disciples or writing books and preaching. Because to take care of disciples is like taking care of kids. They're naughty. They don't listen. It's like having a family. And you know, the guru decided not to get married, but now he has 100 kids, 200 kids. He doesn't even know the names of all the kids, although he gave the names. I was sitting with Jayapataka Maharaj one time in Chicago. One lady was there and she was talking to him. And he asked her, who's your guru? She said, Maharaj, it's you. He said, oh, okay. So, you know, we want to avoid that. It's not really. And I know some gurus who won't take disciples unless they can take care of them. And therefore they don't want to take too many, because then it becomes impossible to take care of. because it's required that the spiritual master monitors, or at least gets feedback from his disciples. That's why we have the Shiksha line to support, to help those devotees who have a spiritual master, but the spiritual master can't always be there for them. So the Shiksha gurus can fill in and give support and guidance. Yeah. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the one who said that. He writes, but he speaks. He said, one should not take on too many disciples. But then the word too many is relative. So what is too many? More than you can handle in terms of guidance. So we've set up a broader system to somehow support the gurus with their numerous amount of disciples. And that's required, otherwise it wouldn't be possible to guide everyone.
I have a question that about the particular.
Okay.
Haribol. Guru Maharaj, that particular slide where it says that the Guru may not be perfectly liberated, maybe even less qualified, but he can still act in the role of Shiksha Guru if he is in strict disciplic succession. So if one is less qualified, isn't there a danger that one may not be strictly acting according to the parampara?
That's why Shivaram Maharaj wanted to formalize Shiksha. He wanted to make it on the same qualification as Diksha, that if you're going to have a Shiksha disciple, you should connect with that, and there should be a formal initiation, and that is your Shiksha Guru also. And that's one of the dangers, people who are not qualified. Just like people will come for advice, and they may go to many persons for advice, and choose the advice that they like the best. Of course, that's an insincere disciple, but that happens. So yeah, you're right, there is a danger there.
Does he falls down that time? So does he falls down?
That the disciple?
Yeah.
If he acts outside of the instructions of his initiating spiritual master, that's one of the offenses to the holy name. And therefore, that will cause him, if he continues that way, that'll cause fall down for sure. The disobedience of the spiritual master's instruction is the third offense to the holy name. So you see how Guru is connected to even to the chanting of the holy name. Is that okay? Okay, anything else? We have about 5 minutes left according to our allotted time.
Did you finish your question?
Oh, I think I did. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. Okay. Explain even how non-liberated devotees can act as guru. There you go.
If he follows the acharyas
strictly.
Yeah. An example of the postal peon was really given at the beginning. He's delivering the message as it is. Although he may not be perfect, he's acting perfectly. Okay? I think there's one more question. Explain. Someone read.
Explain the real meaning of Vyas Puja that Srila Prabhupada gave at the end of the narrative.
Yeah, the last slide. Yes, Olga? There's a certain point that he made, that's the answer.
Yeah, he did it to show how Guru should be worshipped.
To show how the Guru should be worshipped. And to show that actually the spiritual master is representing the Supreme Lord and should be worshipped in the same way. At least in quality. Yeah, good, thank you. Okay, so that's the first lesson. Yeah, we can continue.
It goes back to the beginning when we talk about the Guru Parampara and how the bona fideness, I guess, is because there is a disciplic succession and we can name it. But sometimes I wonder, looking outside in, if someone was to ask me, like, how do I know the message that ISKCON and Prabhupada has given us is as it is? How do we know that? And yes, there is the list of gurus, but is that, I don't know if that would thoroughly convince someone that yes, the message is as it is.
Well, Guru Sadhu Shastra. One has to hear from the spiritual master and have some way of referencing, or at least validating what he says is actually correct or in line with others. So therefore, they say the three-point triangle of truth to check is what's in the Shastras, what's there in the lives of the previous Acharyas, the sadhus, and the present Acharya. If those 3 points line up, then that is an absolute principle. But when it comes to detailed instructions, and we were talking about this yesterday in our Zoom call, how sometimes the spiritual master will adjust a detail. Were you there for that discussion?
I watched it later.
Yeah. So, when the example was given, and Srila Prabhupada was asked by Shruti Kirti, what's the difference between a principle and the detail? Because Prabhupada was talking about both. And then he asked, what's the difference? And then Prabhupada gave the example that when I came to America to preach to the Westerners, I had to adopt certain ways to present the knowledge in a practical sense, not in a philosophical sense, in a practical sense. So that would be in line with the culture and tradition of people in the West. So the point was that in India, at least in the traditions, women were not given equal status for worship as the men were. Therefore, they were worshiping usually at home, or they would come to the temple and do service and hear the classes, but they couldn't live in the ashram. They couldn't live in the ashram. And usually, many times, the women were given initiation through their husband. The husband was initiated, and therefore the wife was following the husband, therefore she was considered to be accepted as a disciple, because she wasn't given formal initiation. But when Prabhupada came to the West, he saw this wasn't possible to adopt that same traditional practice. And so he gave women equal status in all categories of practical execution of devotional service. And Prabhupada said, that was a detail, but I had become successful because I made that adjustment. Prabhupada gave himself credit for making that adjustment, that was a success of his movement. And so then Shruti Kirti Prabhu went on to question, saying, well, how do you know the difference between a detail and a principle? And the answer was, that requires intelligence. And Prabhupada left it at that. So not everything is handed to you. Sometimes you have to understand how things work and apply your intelligence in different situations. And in that case, yeah. So what is a principle? Give an example of a principle that's not changeable.
The four regulative principles.
Yeah, four regulative principles like that. Those are not changeable. The detail is serve prasadam, but it doesn't always have to be Indian.
Pizza.
Could be pizza, could be Chinese, for some who have that. So the point is, prasadam may take a broader and still fit into the same category as prasadam. Yes.
Marge, thank you. Can I ask, if the detail, so for example, non-toxicants, so including caffeine, is the detail where devotees feel they can have decaffeinated tea and coffee? Could you kind of share your thoughts on that?
There's my charter. Yeah, it's just slowly going towards Maya. Yeah, making slight adjustments.
I guess that includes chocolate as well.
I can make a statement that will make you a little bit worried. So Prabhupada said, no coffee, no tea. So the devotee said, well, we have this, tea that is not caffeine. Prabhupada said, no tea. Tea that doesn't have any, what we say, caffeine in it? Yeah. Decaffeinated tea. Prabhupada said no tea. He didn't give any leadway on that. But devotees drink herbal tea like that. So fight with that one. So the stricter you are, the easier Krishna consciousness is. Up to a point of not becoming fanatical. Fanatical means to follow the letter of the law in every situation and can't see the difference on how to apply principles according to time, place, and circumstance. For instance, Prabhupada he went to India with some of his new disciples. This was in Calcutta, and he met one very nice man who had a nice family. He was interested, so he invited Prabhupada and all of the disciples for an evening meal. And so they were serving out, and then they were giving out pakoras. And so the devotees noticed there was onion pakoras. And so they signaled to Prabhupada, this was onion. Prabhupada said, never mind, just eat it. He didn't want to make the host feel unhappy by rejecting what he was offering to them. Because he could sense that this host would be very unhappy. So that was a preaching tactic. So sometimes preaching tactics kind of abridge certain principles that we follow when we're not preaching. Just for instance, when Prabhupada said, someone said to Prabhupada, well, Prabhupada told him, preach in Russia. And Prabhupada, and the devotee said, well, there's only meat in Russia, there's nothing to eat. Prabhupada said, eat meat, but preach. So he's not telling us to eat meat. He's saying preach, but whatever it takes to preach. Therefore, when it comes to preaching, and don't take advantage of this statement, there's no rules. Preaching supersedes all rules. Those who formally preach, that means not just giving instructions, but who are actually out there canvassing. So yeah, but Prabhupada said don't take advantage. So don't use that as an opportunity to kind of like, get a little sense gratification here and there. So Krishna consciousness requires intelligence. And everything is there, but the application requires understanding. And not every situation applies to every other situation. So therefore it takes a little bit of understanding. And usually that intelligence comes by way of practice. We get to see how things work. Okay, anything else? Any further discussions? Okay, yeah, we got Raj's. What is the time now?
It's 10 to 6. We've got the golf cart ready to take us to do.
Okay, and there is a arti at 6 o'clock with Giriraj, and that lasts for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then there's Jamuna Arti. Everyone should go to Jamuna Arti. So I'm going to have to let your question go till tomorrow, so everyone can be on time.